What did you learn from that one game alone about Harden's arrival?
Well, I learned that the Brooklyn Nets are going to the NBA Finals, with or without Kyrie Irving.
The unbelievable Brooklyn Nets, I never even thought I'd see a team in Brooklyn, but the Brooklyn Nets are going to win a championship this year or next year or maybe both.
Guarded by Holiday. Durant for three. Comes up with an air ball.
An all-time juggernaut of scorers coming out of the East.
James Harden and Kevin Durant going to the finals. I don't see anybody stopping them. It's just that simple.
The Brooklyn Nets are trading James Harden to Philadelphia for the 76ers. Ben Simmons, Seth Curry, Andre Drummond, and 2 first-round picks. That's according to our Woj. What is your immediate reaction to that?
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I am back in a video. This time once again we have some big time breaking NBA news involving James Harden and the Brooklyn Nets. Now, I'm sure many NBA YouTubers have already gone pretty in depth in this trade, who's the winner, who's the loser, who got the best of the deal, and so on and so on. But for this channel, what I want to do, I want to look at the Brooklyn Nets with James Harden, Kyrie Irving, as well as KD, and how disappointing they really were. As once again, in a year and a half time, they accomplished virtually nothing. When coming into it, they were booked as a super team. They're guaranteed to win a championship, if not championships. And when it's all said and done, Harden was traded, Kyrie was unvaccinated, and Kevin Durant once again was injured. So with that being the case, in this video, we're looking at the Brooklyn Nets Big Three and how bad they really were. And to start this video out with a bang, I'll just come out and say it. I think this Brooklyn Big Three was the most disappointing Big Three in NBA history, and if you label them a super team, I think also they're the most disappointing super team in NBA history. You can look at the 2011 Heat, the 04 Lakers, the 97 Rockets, all those super teams who had big time failures. But I think Brooklyn had the biggest fail of all. As for this Big Three, they never even got off the ground as being a Big Three. As in total, they only played 16 games together over 1.5 years. That's simply pitiful and boggles the mind. And since James was traded to Brooklyn, he played 89 games in a Nets uniform. During that same time period, KD played 69 and Kyrie 61. Together in game, they were on the court for 13% of the time. Once again, absolutely pitiful and mind-boggling. And we're looking at James Harden. His first game in Brooklyn was 10 games into the NBA season. In that game, he had 32 points, 14 assists, and 12 boards, in a blowout victory versus Orlando Magic. Kevin Durant in that game also had 42, and Kyrie Irving, per usual, was a DNP. That game right there was a glimpse of what James Harden could have been with the Brooklyn Nets. And when looking at the Big Three debut, only a week later in Cleveland, they combined for a staggering 96 points. Once again, this Big Three already is a huge what-if in NBA history. And looking back to the NBA playoffs in 2021, us NBA fans thought finally this team was healthy, they were ready to make a real championship run. And in the first round versus Boston, they were absolutely dominant. And in their best game, which came in Game 4, they combined for a ridiculous 104 points. KD had 42, Kyrie had 39, and Harden had 23 points. That in NBA history was tied for the most points ever for a trio in the playoffs. And once again, this Big Three on paper should have been the best offensive Big Three of all time. But once again, bad luck and injuries struck big time, with Harden pulling his hamstring and Kyrie hurting his ankle. And looking at the best player on Brooklyn, that would be Kevin Durant, obviously. And of course, coming to Brooklyn, Kevin Durant, the franchise was in his hands and he had the choices in many of their player acquisitions. He had a choice in getting Kyrie, as well as James Harden. And of course, behind the scenes, I think it is saying getting Ben Simmons over to the Brooklyn Nets. Kevin Durant for the playoffs is going to have immense pressure like never before. And if he fails to win a championship for the second straight year, the NBA critics are going to come out in full force, blasting him for creating 2 super teams and failing miserably. And looking at his co-star Kyrie Irving, if they don't win the chip, he's also going to be destroyed when it comes to the media. His vax status, his injuries, all that's going to pile up, the media hate, ESPN, Fox Sports, all that's going to come rain down in full force if Brooklyn doesn't win the championship. And I don't want to be hyperbolic, I think this Nets team has the most pressure of any team since the 2017 Warriors. And unfortunately, this Nets team is not the 2017 Warriors. And looking at the Eastern Conference now in 2022, the landscape has completely changed. And I would argue the East is just as good, if not better, than the Western Conference for the first time in probably 25 years. Looking at the top, you have the Heat, one of the best defensive teams in the league. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, Oladipo's coming back. That team's loaded, they have depth, and they're also very experienced. You have the Bucks with Giannis, Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday. They're also very experienced, and once again, the defending NBA champions. In Chicago, you have DeMar and Zach, who are absolutely starving for a deep playoff run. In Cleveland, they're also very young and hungry, with Mobley, Jarrett Allen, Darius Garland. And in Philadelphia now, you have Harden, Joel Embiid, and some really good role players coming off the bench. I mean, the Eastern Conference now, it really goes 6 teams deep. I think 4 of those teams have a legit shot at winning the championship. And for Brooklyn right now, they're the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference and could be in the play-in tournament come playoff time. Once again, KD offensively, his plate is going to be full come playoff time. And this Nets team very easily could go down in flames in a first round or even second round exit. And lastly for this video, here's one graphic of Kyrie, Harden, KD at their absolute best. This right here is what it could have been if they're all healthy and they had some better luck in the playoffs as well as the regular season. And 10 to 20 years from now, we're looking back on this, it's going to be a really weird era where James Harden, Kyrie, and Kevin Durant, they only played 16 games together in nearly 2 years. 16 games out of 124 in nearly 2 years. Once again, this big three already is a huge what if, and in my personal opinion, the most disappointing big three in NBA history is simply not close, as Brooklyn never got off the ground, never made a deep playoff run with these 3 guys healthy. So as always, thank you guys for watching this video, hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you next time.